Taylor is our community coordinator, and she also is the one you are mostly in touch with, or you will be mostly in touch with, regarding the mentoring program at the Female Factor. We'll be there for you today to host the conversations and to guide you through this evening. And in the meantime, if also you have any further questions, feel free to type them in the chat, and Taylor will support answering those as much as possible and as fast as possible. Taylor, would you love to actually tell us a little bit more about the mentoring program?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. So, what is mentoring? I think that is obviously the very best place that we can start. So, working with any of our mentors, we're going to help you to define your career goals, whatever those might be. Everyone who comes into the mentoring program is always at a different stage, so they have different benefits from the mentors that we have in our program. You'll be able to expand your network by working with your mentor. They'll also be able to provide you with some industry insights and share their experiences with you. So hopefully you can learn through that, and rather than maybe making the mistakes yourself, you never know. We also have the opportunity for you to get some neutral feedback. So having someone from that objective perspective sharing with you, and then also, of course, helping you to plan your career path moving forward as well. And of course, this is a non-exhaustive list of the things that your mentor can help you with. As someone who has gone through this program 3 times now myself, I can honestly say every mentor has offered something completely different, and I've been able to benefit in one way or another. Yeah, so some quick data on our mentoring program. So 1 in 2 of the women who join our program get promoted during or afterwards, and 2 of 3 women go on to become mentors themselves, which we always love to see. And then we also have some quick facts and numbers as well. So for those who have gone through the program, they have a 5 times higher chance of getting a promotion. They also see an increase in their salaries. And you'll also notice, if you've been with us for quite some time, you know that the 3 core pillars that we operate on are competence, connections, and confidence. We measure this before and after the program. And for those who have gone through, we see a 34% increase in competence, 45% increase in connections, and a 55% increase in their confidence levels. And here are some of the beautiful faces of our mentors that are going to be available in the upcoming batch. Just some, to name a few. You can see we have both of our co-founders from the Female Factor here, Modis and Tanya. We also have some of our partners here as well from Google and IWG as well. And what is actually something that you're going to get as part of this program? It's 6 months in length, so you get 6 months to work alongside a mentor to help you work towards those goals. So for this upcoming batch, it's going to be starting in May and going until, it says here October, but it's actually supposed to be November. And in this 6-month period, you'll have at least 4 to 6 hours of mentoring with the mentor that you get matched with. And of course, you always have support from us. Mostly myself is the person who's going to be coming across your screen and into your inbox, but we'll have some regular check-ins just to make sure that everything is going well and that the vibe is going good too. Yes, this is my favorite part. So what you get here is no blind matching. So when you apply, you select 3 mentors that you're interested in, and we make sure that these mentors actually get to see your application. So it's not AI generated, it is actual work happening behind the scenes, which is why it does take a little bit longer for us to make those connections. But you're also going to have an opportunity to connect at events. So we do have some mentee networking events that we have throughout this program as well, which gives you an extra opportunity to network with people in the community. And of course, you'll also get access to tips and tools. So we'll have some guiding materials for you and some workbooks to help you along the way. Yeah, so again, from May until November, and our applications are currently open. So you can definitely go on to www.femalefactor.global, and you can go check out the mentoring there. Application process is quite simple. So you'll just go to the website, browse which mentors you would like to match with. when you're going through the application process, you put together your motivational letter for each mentor that you select. So you, again, can select up to 3. And all you have to do is hit the submit button by March 24th, and then you'll be in for the matching.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Taylor. You can, if you have further questions, you feel free to ask them in the chat about the program itself. We will have a Q&A session towards the end, but feel free to, during the meeting, also pose questions, and maybe the quick ones Taylor can also answer and share. I believe she will also, throughout the call, share a few relevant links for you to check out, so you can easily find them. And ideally register. We hope to see you there. We have a really great selection of mentors today in this type of program. But I think probably even more exciting today than me and Taylor speaking are the 3 wonderful mentors from our community that are joining us. All of them have had extremely, I think, rich experiences in both working with mentors, so being mentored, but also mentoring other women along the way, and not just women, but let's say also women on the way. And we've invited them to share these experiences with all of you because we feel there are some very interesting learnings, and all 3 of them interestingly bring very different perspectives because they've worked in different types of organizations, and we will kind of invite them to bring those perspectives and what they've seen from, you know, big corporates to working as more on the consulting side of companies to working with a lot of startups. So we have kind of different perspectives, I think, that they bring in, which is something I'm really excited about as well. Now, I will not speak too much about them because I think I would love to hear from them and their experiences. But to quickly introduce them, well, let me start with Helena Frumzon. Helena holds multiple hats, but has, I think, over 25 years now of experience in different sectors in finance, but also as you can see, the co-founder of different companies. And in the moment, she's co-founder of 2 companies. One is Infinita Club, and one is Neoclear. And I will invite Helena to briefly introduce yourself in your own words before I butcher your rich biography on the way. Just in a few sentences, yeah, a little bit about you and what has your mentorship, what has mentoring meant to you in a brief sentence so far.
Thank you, Anna. I'm Helena Frumzon, and I'm based in Cambridge, UK. I was born in Soviet Union. I grew up in Jerusalem and then other places in Israel, and I've moved to UK 15 years ago to continue my financial sector career. Indeed, this year I count 29 years of working altogether between fundraising and the charitable sectors, education and leadership development, between fashion and finance in the last 22 years. I work with startups. I mentor in Founder Institute. I work with different origin startups in this institute. I guest lecture in MBS faculties, and I run and co-run a few companies, one of which is a financial infrastructure a business called Neoclear, which is a clearinghouse, if you're familiar with finance. For me, mentoring has always been a great opportunity to look at things with different perspective. I'm a very strong-willed and very opinionated personality. So for me to have someone else offer different perspective is invaluable. And when that person comes on board and offers different view, it doesn't mean that I ask for permission, but I ask for suggestions and ideas. And it always is incredibly enriching experience for me, which then allows me to take a step back, reflect, take my own time, and take decisions based on a lot more data, quality data that I receive. So my approach to that is less emotional, more quantitative and data-driven, if you will. So to me, this is extremely important part of my journey, and I keep my sounding board. It may change over the years and may have changed over the years, but it is where it is.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Helena. As you've heard now, I think Helena brings a very interesting perspective from different sectors, but also I think working with startups as well. I think that's a very valuable, I think, perspective you also bring here. As we know that many of our members and many of the people on the call are actually interested in starting or growing their business. So I think there is interesting perspectives that I think you additionally bring in. Our next guest and speaker for today is Alexandra Majkic. Alexandra is a strategic talent development partner, but also has had a career in high-tech industry, has also worked as a keynote and diversity and inclusion trainer and working with companies. And Alexandra, if I understood your career path well, you would often be the person that comes into the company, works with the company for a while, helps set up the strategy, and also leaves. So I think that's an interesting perspective you also bring in from kind of seeing all the different structures and organizations and companies and mentoring different roles within them. Maybe you can tell us briefly about your experience, and then what was mentoring for you on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Anna. So that's correct. I worked in IT for almost 15 years in really male-dominated industry, and I was really lucky to work in this high-growing industry and to be able to see a lot of different markets, a lot of different industries, a lot of different companies, as I was in charge of opening markets, leading new projects, leading innovations. So it really gave me the perspective of how people perceive work, how they perceive people from different parts of the work. So today, I usually work with women who want to progress their careers, and they live in very different parts of the world because they also bring this expat flavor to their work. So my motivation and my goal actually is to help them, find their strengths, to build on them, and to build their careers up on that strength. Because I usually say, maybe they taught us really wrongly at school that we really have to be good at everything and, to correct the things that we are not good at. So my goal is through these mentorship programs to actually empower people and to help them build on their strengths and to find their purpose and their niche they want to work in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alexandra. And for joining us today. And we have Julia Ionescu. Julia is the Director of Sales of EMEA at CG, which is in the manufacturing field area. And Julia, you also have a very interesting career from military psychology, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of different industry to sales. And on this journey, I remember you mentioning having various mentors helping you on the way. So what has mentorship meant for you in this kind of all of this transition, and maybe just a bit about your background?
Thank you very much, and thank you again for inviting me in this. I think it's very important to give back, and the most important thing for me in mentorship, it's while we are mentored, then we are bringing back to the community and we are giving back. And thank you for the introduction. Yes, I think so. Starting from military psychology to sales, not a big difference. You need the same principle, I think. I'm just joking. I think I stopped counting the experience and now I'm saying plus 20 because I don't want to say the other number. Plus 20 and working most of the time in technical environments. So when I'm hearing the feedback of I'm a woman in a male-dominated industry, I totally find myself there. I must admit that the environment now, it's totally different than 20 plus years ago. So we need to adjust at the current environment. But yeah, I'm leading currently a pan-European team, and for the last 15 years, I'm working in pan-European environments. And this means that I spend a lot of time balancing different cultures, different perspectives, different time zones, and yeah, usually with a lot of coffee to help me. And for me, mentorship was very important because of the environment I've been through. I was having at some moment in times the imposter syndrome, or where I want to be, or what I want to do next, and this my space, or I'm good enough. And I had mentors to guide me through those challenges. Building the confidence, it took me many, many years to actually believe what people were telling me and believe that actually I'm good at what I'm doing. And this is a challenge for a lot of people, and I think a lot of women. So that helped me quite a lot. And again, this is what I want to bring back and encourage the women to go further.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I think, as I said, all the three of you do bring in, I think, different experience and perspectives. You've all been in different parts and worked in different parts of the world. So I'm looking forward to exploring that. And yeah, let's talk a little bit more. I will stop sharing the screen so we can kind of focus on our faces, because I think that makes for a nicer conversation. And Helena, you've had experience kind of mentoring these different professionals from different backgrounds. Startup founders also are very varied in their experiences. And I would love to hear like one real story highlighting the real impact of mentoring. So very concretely, when you've seen, okay, this mentoring worked and brought a real difference into somebody's life.
So thank you, Anna. So if we want to look at startups specifically, this is one area where I believe the impact of mentoring might be extremely important, because the startup is a very time-sensitive enterprise in terms of securing your funding, securing your first clients, demonstrating traction, acquiring your growth, and scaling up. Startup is all about scaling up, especially in contemporary understanding of a startup, when most of them are geared towards bigger exit eventually, as opposed to a smaller enterprise in your village, which also is a startup and absolutely has rights to exist. So in terms of this sensitivity, and actually in the village, somewhere in India, Africa, smaller enterprises, they're also time sensitive, because often it means that entire well-being of a family or a group of people is dependent on success of this startup. So these are just different dynamics, but the time sensitivity. In terms of the time, and the best we could do is actually accelerate that growth, accelerate this time to market, time to success, time to revenue, whether you need external investment or whether you will be living of microloan or whatever is the vehicle that supports your startup. In these particular cases, it is very important to navigate, to assist that startup founder navigate. And in fact, many startups fail. If we look at Harvard statistics of failing startups, and I encourage to read about them, there are specific reasons for startups fail. Many of them are really avoidable if you have someone adult, someone who's been there, or someone who understands the field to assist you, because not everyone has access or ability to go and secure MBA degree, and even that doesn't help necessarily. So I would say assisting in preparing the deck, like from tactical things like preparing the deck, thinking about the key value of your proposition, how to package it, how to take it from 0 to 1, can be crucial for your success. Now, success of the startup oftentimes will dictate your personal perception of how successful you are, because sometimes we're linked to this enterprise. So I would say that in case of startups, it is extremely important. Helped me before. I try to help others, and I see how people go from not being able to spell what is it they're trying to offer, all the way through 4, 5, 6 months to the situation where they can, blow the deck and impress investors and secure their funding. And I think it is crucial to specifically this huge leap that is required, not diminishing by any means an importance of mentoring in other fields. It's just this one sometimes is really burning.
Yeah.
I speak with passion. You can feel.
Absolutely. I think that's very crucial, I think, for people who are, looking to start their own business, to understand that, you don't have unlimited time usually to kind of work and build on your business. And that's where I think mentoring can play quite a role in saying, okay, let's accelerate that, as you highlighted. What about you, Alexandra? I think you work with, you've been in so many different companies, and you've seen kind of different things happening in different roles. And yeah, what are some success story maybe that, you still have very vividly in your head?
Yes. So mine, let me tell you one story that's a little bit different, and it's a corporate environment. So I started to work with a German IT company. So they are headquartered in Berlin, but they do have offices all around the world. So this HR, who is a woman director, she hired me to actually help her develop the development plans for leaders, for the senior managers, and so on. And we started to work, but along the way, she told me that she is actually preparing for the board role, but she doesn't feel ready. So, Julia, to the imposter syndrome you mentioned and everything that comes along, I told her, well, we can work on preparing you for your board membership. And I really like to emphasize this. So, working with a mentor or your coach or somebody that you really trust that can help you grow, it's a process. So, I've been working with this lady for a year. It took us like 10 meetings, homeworks, pre-tasks, post-tasks, analyzing of the stakeholders, building influence. And the moment she stepped into that role, we had our last coaching session yesterday, everything changed. So throughout this process, she grew. She found out what her blind spots were, where she actually needed to grow. And the most important thing that I'm really proud about is that she changed the rules of how board communicates, makes decisions, and operates. So this is really the impact that you see. So she came in, she didn't like what she saw because she was the only woman among 8 other male board members. So she really was able to build a strategy and change the rules how the board operates, which is really good for the whole group and the whole offices all around the globe for people development, for company growth. So I like to say that it's really a process, sometimes a marathon. It's really not a sprint. So, you go through a couple of sessions with your mentor and you kind of figure it all out. But it's really work in progress all the time.
Yeah. And I think to add to that, I loved how you, Helena, said, having a sounding board. It's sometimes not even, just having one person, but actually having a few others to kind of give you different perspectives in it. I think is quite relevant. And Julia, you've shared, that you've had this kind of journey that supported you and many mentors that supported you, but also now as you working in pan-European teams as well, that you also have a lot of colleagues and mentees along the way that you're supporting. And what are some of the most common challenges maybe you see your mentees bringing up on their journey?
Yeah, I think so. The area where I'm getting in contact, and thank you very much for Helena and Alexandra perspective, because we are really bringing different vision and different experience, and this is making this circle so complete. The areas where I'm talking with most of my mentees is the point where are in the middle of their age, looking, they start their job, they work a little bit into something, they reach a development, and now they're wondering what's next. Some are having very clear directions, but some are caught in, okay, so now I need to make the decision of what I want to do for the following 10 years, where I'm growing, in what direction I'm going. And one of the challenges that they are bringing, it's this part of, career progression and decision making. Many are struggling with what will be the next proper step in the career. Should I do a promotion? Should I change my career? How I'm building the confidence to go in the leadership role. Some of them are really concerned. I will be good in managing people. That's a challenge. That's a real challenge. And people are, somehow we put in the society out there that if you're not managing people, you're not good enough. And this is bringing another level of pressure. So one of the challenges, it's that part, the career progression. We already cover a little bit the part with the self-doubt. But what I think it's also very important, and I'm seeing more often in the last years, is a work-life balance and burnout. And how they're going through this period, how they're setting up priorities, how they're setting boundaries, how they're going through this period and moving ahead. And this I found in my experience with the mentees I'm talking, some of the challenges, most common of them.
Helena, what about from your perspective, as I think you also often mentor a bit of a different group, do these challenges match from your experiences?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, in a few previous rounds, I had a chance and privilege to work with a few mentees that specifically were, as they tend to describe sometimes, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next. And in fact, what's interesting is that with a bit of a dialogue, they know what they want to do next, or they just need someone to approve of what they want to do next, or someone to support what they want to do next. Each mentee is a lot more resourceful than they sometimes think. So I feel that often we almost illuminate the way. We find that, torch and switch it on, and together with position, then Eureka, I knew all of this before. And I say, well, I know that you knew all of this before, but now we can navigate that map. We can build we can build the map, we can build a route between where you are now and where you want to be. So yes, it takes a few months sometimes to open up, to be able to position. But my view, and again, maybe because my first education is in formal education, which always puts decision making on the child, on the adult, on whoever is learning. So I'm here merely a supportive tool to help you navigate and help you take these decisions, but it's yours. You fully own it. So that is what I've seen and experienced. And I try to, as a good doctor, I try first of all to never damage. So that would be, the first assumption. But yes, this I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. And it can be middle of their career by all means, but it can be 3 times. It can happen to us multiple times in our career. It can happen in my 25 and then 35 and then I'm 50. And I'm so inspired and I have so much under my belt, but how do I best capitalize on it, right? I have another 10, 20 years of productive time. How do I capitalize on it? So we look for ways to capitalize on it in the best fulfilling way.
Yeah. And I think this is an important highlight that, mentor is not coming into your life to solve all of your problems, right? The responsibility as a mentee is on you to actually do the work and to actually make decisions and, take the advice with, grain of salt and with your own rationing, but then, using those people around you to kind of give you different perspectives, as you said, illuminate the way a bit, but you're the one that needs to take a step. So I think that's also important for managing expectations from what do you get from this mentorship, right? I would be very curious to hear actually from all 3 of you, if somebody is unsure, do I actually need a mentor? And how do I know if this person is the right fit for me? As we've seen now also in the comments, people are asking, I'm looking at mentors and I found only 2 out of possible 3, right? What do you look for? What should people actually look for in the mentor? Maybe Alexandra, we kick it off from you and then we make the round.
Yes. Yeah, so usually how people approach this process is to find somebody who's like a perfect match regarding the background, the current career, the history. But I encourage people to take kind of a wild guess, maybe, and to step away from that one, because I'm also participating in another mentoring program, and I got a completely a person who has a completely different background than myself, and she told me, I really picked you because of that. And it turned out it's great because of the different perspectives. So the most important thing is actually to have this first meeting and see if your energies are really similar, if you are a goal, or if your mentor is also goal oriented as you are, and if you think then that this person is going to help you, like Helena said, find that way and light the way. Because in the mentoring process, it's all about challenge. So for me, it's about a lot of mindset changes, a lot of mindset shifting. So, pick the person who can actually challenge you and guide you. Sometimes it's not going to be so pleasant, but you need a person who is going to be determined to actually keep you going on that road. I also
Julia, would
had
you
a
agree?
mentor.
Oh,
Go ahead,
definitely. I
Alexandra.
mean, that's what I have in mind. I mean, if the answer to the question, I'm ready to be challenged, or am I ready to be challenged? It's yes, then definitely it's a journey. I think you need to ask yourself if you are having that person around you, do you have a person which actually challenge you from personal development perspective and professional perspective? And then, yeah, if not, then yeah, mentor, it's the right direction. And yeah, it's all about the challenges, but also being open for that challenge, because some they said, yes, I'm open, but then when these challenging conversation are starting, we are getting back to the square one. And I totally agree. Definitely, for me, the most valuable mentors I ever had, definitely were not from the same background I was, because a different background and different experience can give you a different perspective that you never considered before. So just take a leap of faith. But as Alexandra was saying, chemistry, it's very important, but you cannot get to the conclusion if you're matching or not if you're not trying. Just try it. You have nothing to lose, literally nothing.
Maybe some time, but yeah.
What about from you, Helena? What would you say is important for somebody to know when looking for a mentor, or to look for when looking for a mentor?
So thank you. First of all, to your question, if I need a mentor, I always say, how many mentors do I need? And the answer is yes.
All of
my
them.
humble opinion, we always need a mentor. We always need this sounding board, these people to go and get advice, to bounce ideas, to get challenged. If you are planning for constant, intentional and deliberate growth, whether it's your professional growth or personal breakthrough or change that you're going for, my humble opinion is that it's always good to have someone. And we always, since kindergarten, there was always someone challenging us, giving us ideas, whether we acknowledge it or not. Those people that say, I made it all myself, well, I'd challenge that. So in terms of type of a mentor, I tend to agree with Alexandra and Julia. I think we all share this interesting experiences. Certainly some of my best mentors were people who I never want to be when I grow up, right? Those were not people that looked like me, that sounded like me, because what for do I need another opinionated person that thinks identically? I don't want to be entertained. My idea is to be challenged, and some challenge is be harder on yourself, and some challenges be softer and kinder to yourself, which is equally as difficult as to be challenging to yourself, right? Be kinder is one of the biggest lessons in my life, came from my boss, and she was nothing like I am. We're completely different people, but she managed to get to me over the years, and I'm incredibly grateful. So a different person is also a good challenger. And decide if you want a professional, if you want to know how to build a particular type of a company, of course, seek for someone who builds something similar. But if you want personal growth, well, look for people. I would definitely look at Alexandra or Yulia's profile and say, oh, these are people who went through so many changes in their lives. They definitely have something to offer on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in one of our conversations, Helena, you also mentioned, like, mentors can be formal, but can also be informal, right? Sometimes it's your friend, sometimes it's your colleague, sometimes it's your partner, right? So it doesn't always have to be this very structured process, but sometimes it's good to bring this other perspective, external perspective from somebody who doesn't have so much stake maybe in your life, right? Or doesn't know you so well, that shines the spotlight, right? As you said, I like that metaphor. I'm going to keep using it.
People that have stake in our lives, often, apologies for adding my two additional cents, people that have stakes in our life often volunteer unsolicited mentoring. But I think it's important for us to go and seek solicited mentoring. So intentionally approach someone, not necessarily sit in a back seat, because again, we're giving them an opportunity to lead, but not ourselves. There's a difference between mentoring and parenting, as I see it. And
yeah, I would agree. But it's good to, also think of not one mentor. There's not always need for one single mentor, but we might need the different perspectives in there as well. I'm kind of keeping an eye on time. I would still give us a little bit more to chat, and I think both. All of you actually has worked with many different mentees specifically as well, and I noticed that sometimes specific skills get more or specific knowledges and skills get more highlight, are more in hype than the others. But I'd be curious for you, what are some overlooked skills you see that mentees often don't focus on, but maybe should in their professional journeys? Is there something that you've noticed as a thing that people often overlook in these processes? Maybe Alexandra, you can.
Yeah, I can go. Yes. So what I often see, and it's often with the female audience who is, let's say, just entering the workforce, or that they have up to 5 years of experience, is the lack of positioning and visibility. So it's something that we're not taught in schools, in colleges. To some people, it comes naturally to talk about their successes, to share what they've done, to actually network more naturally. But to some people, it's really hard to understand that it's on their own plate to actually position themselves in the company, in the network, in some on social media, but to do it really strategically and smart, and to be smart about it. So I work a lot on developing these skills with people that I work with, because it's crucial. And if it's built really strategically, it can open so many doors. And it's also about picking the right mentor. So this is the person who can open a lot of doors for you. That's also a good prerequisite. But this is the one. So it's positioning and visibility, definitely. And in my workshops, when I ask only female audience, so from 1 to 5, let me tell me how would you rate your own visibility in your workplace? They're like 1, 2, 3. But when I ask mixed groups or only men groups, they're all like 5. Everybody knows me. So it's really different from that gender perspective as well. But it's something to be, it's crucial in your career development. So for me, it's positioning and visibility.
Wonderful, thank you. Julia, what about your experience?
I will say asking the right question, being curious. Sometimes we are afraid to put questions. Sometimes we are not ready to put the questions. And sometimes we are avoiding the right questions. So the art of putting questions, and this I found it valuable in professional life and in personal life. And it's something that I think we really need to bring it in a conscious area and said, our professional life is not so different than the personal life. And the skills that the things that we are learning in our professional life can help us or guide us a lot also in the personal life. And asking the right question can save careers, can help us to develop, but most of the time can help us save personal relationship, can help us improve personal relationship. So one of the skills that I would say, we need to work around, it's building the curiosity or the art of putting the right questions.
Beautiful. So we have visibility and positioning. We have asking the right questions. What about from your experience, Helena? What are some overlooked skills maybe that we forget to focus on in our journey, professional journeys?
If I relate, again, my experience in working with women, I'm removing men from the equation intentionally because they are truly different how they see themselves and how connected they are between different parts of their brain. And sometimes they themselves will say, we're not as complicated as you are. So I think that because women tend to carry a lot of weight on her shoulders, social, emotional, professional, unpaid, carrying responsibilities, all that, sometimes I find that women that I speak with feel a bit like a puzzle, like a Cubic group that has to be assembled, almost as if how I feel and how I think, and my systemic logical thinking, and my emotional and social development, my ability to propagate how I am to social circles, including PR abilities, including self-promotion, it's all disconnected. It's like almost you have different drawers and you need spring cleaning, and now you need to pull your fashion wardrobe, but you don't know what to wear with what, because gosh, this doesn't fit and that is not even mine. So so with this long preamble, what I'm trying to say, that one of the first things that I look at is, let's assemble this all and put it in one person before you fall apart and think that that you have some kind of what is this, like a psychological disconnect, because there is no psychological problem. You just need to bring it all under one roof and take priorities, and out of these priorities then start asking right questions and seeing which one are we going to promote and put the price tag on and monetize and leverage and capitalize upon. So this would be my view, personal. Like, first we assemble and then we start prioritizing and working towards the goals.
And I love you also mentioned maybe this specifically question for you, because I know this is a topic you're quite passionate about, Helena, as well. The monetization part, right? We often know that we also saw the numbers that women, because of the mentorship, often also get raises and kind of start earning more money. And I would love to hear. I know this is kind of leading to the financial success of women. Also, is a big part of your passion. Can you give us kind of a real world example where kind of mentoring, how it can also push your financial thinking and kind of your financial overall state?
Yes, I feel and I think and I find, and I just recently had a conversation on my trip to Singapore. I've met with a friend of my friend who is a high-flying woman, asset management field, managing director level. So she's very well off. She's very organized. She divorced. She doesn't know how to start, how to find her health insurance, where is her pension, how much is in her pension, etc. And to my question, why? And there are many of us like that, by the way, us, not them, us. To my question, why? Because my husband, by default, used to take care of that. For that matter, she was German. So in her culture, unlike in those cultures affected by socialism and communism, etc., for all the evil of these environments, women had access to finances. She comes from an environment where she didn't. So, and she's financially savvy person, financially educated. So for her, the leap is very fast to get back on track. For many women who wake up at the age of 35 and 45, etc., it's a terrible discovery to understand that I'm poor. I'm poorer than my male colleague, than my husband, than my uncle, brother, etc. So I'm a big advocate of let's unpoor women. So let's look at both financial education as such, so we understand how to invest, save, and run our checking account, and at the same time, how to attach a price tag to our skill and negotiate it internally or externally. It depends where you're selling your skill into. This has nothing to do with moral compass. It is all to do with being able to spell the value. This is the value that I bring to organization. This is how much you saved. You saved $3 million. Don't I deserve 15 grand a bonus? Don't I deserve 20% raise? Actually, don't even ask that way. I do deserve it compared to overall value that I bring on the table. And people say it's easy for you because you are in sales. Yes, in sales it's easier because it's more visible, but we all need to learn doing it.
Yeah, and I think this goes very much along the lines of, I think this is an underrated skill, right? That we often overlook, and I would say sometimes, often, especially as women, and as you said, sometimes even women in finance, right? We overlook kind of this financial aspect of our career growth, and I think this is a good one to practice as well along the way. As I'm looking at the time, and we have just a bit more left, I would love to kind of maybe wrap it up. We do have a lot of potential mentees in here. And we do, know that people have different goals in this. What is maybe from your side as a mentor, one piece of advice you would give to a future mentee or interested mentee in this case?
Should I go
Julia.
first again?
Yes,
Julia.
perfect. Go, Alexandra. No, that's fine. Go, Alexandra.
Julia, would you like to go first?
No, please go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so my advice would be always get back on your horse in terms of if you picture kids playing, one is sitting on a horse, the other one is not. And the one that's on the ground actually, you know, stabs or hits the other one and the other one falls. Be that kid who always get backs on the horse when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to perseverance, when it comes to your career growth, when it comes to asking questions. So always get back in the game and don't let that first no ever discourage you, because a lot of people in the workplace really like playing games. Sometimes they just challenge us with saying, no, you can't do this, or no, this is not the role in the company. So always get back on your horse, challenge that no with a lot of arguments. Like Helena said, have the numbers, have the statistics, have your achievements always ready, and be ready to get back on that horse, not twice, not 3 times, sometimes even 10 times to get what you want.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alexandra.
You're welcome.
Julia.
Yeah, I will say so. It's very hard because from your answer, Alexandra, I think we can just take other paths. I will say, like in a similar way, own your growth, be responsible. And we mentioned, I think, before in this conversation, your future, it's in your hands. If you're expecting somebody from outside to do things for you, that will not happen. If I will have wait for me to get promoted, and I was seeing that the companies, again, 20 years ago, technical environment, they were not really interested in promoting women. So I had choices. I had choices to stay there and wait until the company is getting there, or change. I choose to change. And I think, philosophy is saying, change, you're not a tree. So own your growth, be responsible of your growth.
And we have in chat one question that I think would love to tackle on that a little bit more. But maybe to wrap up from our side, Helena, what about you?
My ask would be probably a bit more universal for greater good. I cannot possibly add much to what Alexandra and Yulia already have covered, but things are not going well for women globally. And without going political, we are losing on metrics of trust. Latest Reykjavik report confirms that trust in women leaders is actually falling. 20 odd years ago, my client asked me, do you think women can be managers? I almost fallen off my chair because at that stage I was a woman and I was a manager and what's not. And it was many years after a woman was solo in space and all that. But these questions are asked and we challenged constantly. We need, as women, as species, we need to develop resilience to that, because otherwise we're going to go back to the times when we were owned, and it's not going to go well, in my humble opinion. So to prevent that, all of us, in my opinion, should stand together and develop our skills, whether it takes to be mentored, whether it takes to be a mentor, whether it takes to upskill and cross-skill and educate ourselves. We've got to come together and build this resilience so people stop asking this question. So we stop catching up and we actually can do our job without constantly upselling ourselves. So that would be my ask, to really look seriously at this, not just as my personal development and tactical necessity, but a strategic necessity for us, for all of us, and for our daughters and for our sons as well. So that would be my probably biggest ask, because Yulia and Alexander have covered the rest most beautifully.
Beautiful. Thanks for adding, I think, that kind of also global perspective a little bit, and kind of state of the world, which I think is also important. It shapes us also and on our behaviors and our goals and our growth. And as you, Yulia, I think you brought up growth. We have here a question from Ivona. I'm not sure, Ivona, maybe you can help me out if this was directed to somebody specifically, but she's asking, which mentor would be a match, right? I work as a project manager in IT service industry in Vienna, would love to grow in my role. My main topics are data analytics and cloud-based solutions. So main goal is growing in the role. what would you say? What is the right match for Ivona? If we have ideas how to help her find her match. Anybody feels called to answer this question? And I see Ivona is also on the screen.
Yeah, I think so. For me, it's growing in your role, and especially in what you describe. It's what's, again, going back to the question, what specifically you're looking to grow. You look to grow yourself in your role, you're tackling a leadership position, or you want to upscale your current skills on the points that you put there. So, and what you're expecting from a mentor, what do you want from working with a mentor? I think that's the most important answer that you need to answer to yourself. So working with a mentor, I'm expecting to
finish the sentence, right?
Yeah. And that will give you the idea. So if you're looking strictly from developing the skills perspective, I will not be the right person because I'm a user of the points that you're mentioning them. I'm a passionate user of that, but I'm a user, so I don't have knowledge in that direction. I can share how I'm using or how I'm looking at the people I'm working with. So my operational director, what are the things that I'm looking at from my operational director when I'm talking about those points. If you're looking to develop from the leadership perspective or how to work better with your colleagues or how to engage better with your manager or how to advance in the career, maybe I can support there. It's really depending on what are the areas that's...
Yeah. So your advice before even maybe asking this question is ask yourself once more the question of what does for me means growing in my role, right? Where do I, what part of it do you want to grow? Yeah. Helena, do you have something to add?
I would probably, it's difficult to add. I think Julia is spot on. You've got to be asking yourself, what does it mean? I also like to look at, when I want to make a leap, I like to put it into to differentiate and put my necessities in different brackets. For instance, this is knowledge that I need to grow in my role. I can acquire knowledge through courses, reading, talking to professionals. Do I need my mentor to be actual professional from my field? Not necessarily, right? Because the knowledge I can acquire elsewhere. But if you try to acquire this knowledge elsewhere and you couldn't, and you believe that this mentor have a super important insight for you that will shortcut your way up to your target, then by all means, maybe look within your field and find someone super senior who can share how they got where they got to. So that, and maybe there are specific insights from your industry, from your field that are different to others, and you may be able to leverage them. So this is more of a tactical top up again to what you said.
Anything from your side to add, Alexandra, or you feel these were comprehensive?
Maybe just like the question that I ask people that I talk to, I don't usually or generally have to work with them. It just, when you wake up 1 year ahead of this year, so how does your job look like? And from that perspective, you can also gain the answers to these questions that Helena and Julia also mentioned. What do you want to progress with? Where is it only career but knowledge? So just ask yourself, what do I do in a year from now, and how does it look like?
I think that's a nice way to start thinking about it, because we also know sometimes it's not so easy to answer to that question to yourself. So where do you want to be? Where are you in a year from now? Ivona, I hope this was helpful. Yeah?
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Amazing. Great. I see one more question. Anna is asking, if I'm looking for a mentor as an entrepreneur, should I only consider mentors who are founders themselves? And I think, Helena, maybe here you have the most experience. Do entrepreneurs just look for mentors who are founders, or should they look broader than that?
It depends what you want to grow as entrepreneur. If you need to understand how to build your deck and how to stand, in front of a panel, and how to secure your funding, etc., then look for specific programs, and it is, again, it's differentiator of particular type of knowledge that you can acquire in professional institutions and courses, read about, etc., or find a mentor within Female Factor who is having this domain under their belt as well. But if you want a broader ability to grow, maybe you're shy in front of audience and you need to go a bit deeper into psychology of it and the psychology of performance and being out there, maybe this is the main blocker that stands between you and making your leap. In such case, I would say a broader opportunity is actually a bigger opportunity to learn. So I would differentiate a very particular professional need and knowledge piece from a broader mentoring, maybe almost nurturing mentoring program that Female Factor offers.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. And I hope this was helpful for you also, kind of looking and kind of exploring further who is your right match and mentor. I don't see any more questions in the chat, so I would use the opportunity to kind of slowly move us to the breakout rooms. And I will share my screen so you all kind of have a quick overview of which breakout rooms are we going to get into. Each of our speakers today, including me, we will kind of host a different room for you. You are free to join, I believe, whichever you want. However, we do also have a bit of a we collected your goals as well, so we kind of assigned you to some rooms, but you're also free to change at one point. So Helena will host a room around entrepreneurship and scaling, building and growing a business. Some questions maybe you want to discuss in this is, how can mentorship help in launching and scaling a business, mistakes and lessons learned in entrepreneurship, balancing personal development and business growth, turning ideas into actions, but also use the space, to connect, to, maybe get to know Helena better if you're maybe considering her as a mentor for the upcoming batch. So this is the space for that. The next breakout room will be hosted by Alexandra around expanding your network and building meaningful connections. Alexandra did highlight kind of the value and importance of visibility and kind of the connections you get both within the company but in different spaces as well. So yeah, anything around kind of how do you build a strategic network, meaningful connections, how can you get new opportunities through these connections, overcome networking challenges, kind of stepping out of your comfort zone. I think Alexandra knows and has seen a lot of different strategies for overcoming these. So if you're looking to kind of grow your network and build new connections, this is the right person to talk to. Then the third breakout room will be hosted by Julia on career growth and development. So how do you navigate those next steps? And as we see, this is of interest as well. Yeah, how do you identify these goals? How do you take action? Where mentoring can help you? Any practical steps and experiences? Finding clarity in career transitions. I think you've transitioned your careers quite a few times, Julia. So there's, I think, also quite some interesting, I think, observations and insights you can get from her. And the last room will be hosted by me, kind of climbing this career ladder. How do you get into these higher positions? Any strategies for promotions and leadership roles, skills you need to move up within the organization, overcoming challenges like imposter syndrome, as we also spoke about, how mentorship can accelerate career growth. These are, as a recap, the four rooms, and I believe Taylor is now ready to open them up.
Yes, just have to make sure that everything works out well. One moment.
And we'll have about 20 minutes in the rooms, more or less. So we have a bit of a time to chat with each of our speakers.
So I'm going to open it up, and everyone, you're able to choose which room you'd like to go in. So we're not making assignments. If you want to be in with Helena, you can simply go and join with her. If you want to be with Anna or Julia or Alexandra, please feel free. So opening everything up now.
Can we have one more hour, please?
That good. Perfect. That's the feedback we like to hear.
A little bit too short indeed. But great input and great questions. A lot of great questions.
Amazing. Amazing. Happy to hear that. Anna, Helena, I don't see you over here. Also, you're on a mute, Anna.
Myself, however long we do the breakout rooms, they're never long enough. So I think that's also always the case.
Absolutely. Helena, how about you?
I liked every question. We didn't have enough time, I feel, but it's a great opportunity to learn from the questions as well.
Yes, absolutely. And also for us to learn that maybe we give a little bit more time for some breakout rooms next time too.
We always prolong, but it's never enough.
I know. So true.
Yeah.
Before we close out, I would love to get a picture of everyone. So I'm going to put it into a gallery mode. Please, if you feel like you would love to be part of our picture, yeah, put your cameras on. We'd love to see you. Give you 2 seconds before we actually take the picture. All right, a couple more coming on. There we go. Anyone else jumping in? I'm going to give you a 3, 2, a couple more. Okay. 3, 2, and 1.
Nice. Everybody looking sharp.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been an amazing hour and a half. Anna, I will give it to you quickly here, and I will also put a link here as well.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you, Taylor. Taylor will be there for you to answer any questions, so feel free to also reach out. She can also share the contact where you could reach out to her. As a kind of we work with the international workplace group a lot, and you could work from wherever you are. As we heard, you're from different parts of the world. So if you're looking for a co-working space or office space, you could get a 20% off from our partners. So if you're looking to write that mentoring application, you need a quiet space to do so. They do have offices, I think, pretty much all around the world. So check them out if you're needing some space to work. And yeah, as Taylor is leaving the comments in the links in the chat, I just want to thank you for joining us, for kind of being active participants and asking great questions. I especially want to thank Alexandra, Julia, and Helena for bringing their beautiful insights into this conversation and sharing your perspectives. And yeah, if you want to apply, the link is here. We do have also some supportive articles for you. You can check out about how to apply, how to choose the right mentor. And I really hope we will read more about your applications in the upcoming week, when the deadline is. So you still have a week to apply and join us, and maybe pick and work with one of the wonderful ladies from our conversation today. I believe that brings us to an end. I want to wish you everybody a very nice evening, or good night wherever you are, as I think, and have a good day. I think Osmari from the US. So have a wonderful day, everybody, and stay in touch.